Hi, everyone. Scott Spence here, Artistic Director of the Beck Center. Thrilled to introduce you to our next segment in our 5x15 new musical contest, the 15-minute musical contest sponsored by the National Alliance for Musical Theater. And today, my guests are Joshua Davis and Eric Jones, our creators of White Man's Burden. Joshua did the music, and Eric is responsible for words and lyrics. And we're going to talk a little bit about this piece, which opens up to streaming audiences as of February 12th. How are you guys doing today?
All right, how we doing, Scott? Doing great, man.
Yes,
Well,
I'm doing wonderful. Yes. How about you?
I'm well, thank you. It's great to see you guys again. We're busy working on your piece, and things are coming together nicely. So we're really excited on our end. Hey, let me just take a moment and tell me, each one of you, just a little bit about your background in terms of this whole musical theater thing. Eric, let's start with you.
Okay, well, I had probably the most unusual introduction to musical theater for the last 25 years. I was a registered pharmacist, which has absolutely nothing to do with theater whatsoever. But I've always been interested in stories and words, and and hearing the stories of my patients, and it inspired me to start writing. And I've been writing mostly for mostly for local theater here in Houston area. I started kind of getting into actual musical theater, writing lyrics, probably sometime in 2003. Worked on a couple of shows, did my own musical on my own with the Freedom Quilt back in 2008. But I just needed more. I needed somebody who really loves, who understands, the music structure. So went through different partners, and then I was able to meet up with Josh back in 2017, and we just clicked instantly.
Wonderful. That's a great segue.
And we've been working on the show. We've been working on shows ever since.
Great. So Josh, you're a Detroit area artist. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, well, actually, I started acting and singing in high school and as well as in college. And I didn't really start to write my musical until I, really got out of college, which was in the year of 2014. And I wanted to do something about mental illness. And so I wrote a play about that. And then after that show, I had a chance to meet Eric Jones, and he has given me the opportunity to write for 2 of his shows, including American Skin, Three Crosses, and this wonderful show called White Man's Burden, which I'm so excited about because it really tells the story of 6 men who have been killed because of racism and injustice. And so it's something that really needs to be heard because it's a trend that is still going on now. So that's my whole history of, being a part of musical theater. So.
And with the 6 men that are the subject of your show, they're not all in the same time period, are they?
Yes, that is correct. I wanted to kind of create a collage of our American history, probably the last 60 years of the 20th century and early, last 6 years of the 20th century. The 2 of the men, one of the men, of course, is Emmett Till. Of course, he died in 1955. And then you have the 3 civil rights workers. You have Michael Schwerner, or Mickey Schwerner, who's from Ohio, by the way. You don't realize that. As well as Andy Goodman and James Cheney, who's a native Mississippian, and they were killed in 1964. And then we had James Byrd Jr., who died in Jasper, Texas, not too far away from where I live in Houston. Maybe about 2.5 hour drive up north from where I live. He was killed in 98. And then Yusuf Hawkins, who was killed in 1989. He was from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, New York. But it was just, but there were different periods, but it's the same story, same situation.
Yes.
How would you define the style of this piece? It's not necessarily the most traditional style, is it?
No.
No. In fact, it actually it's a reflection of the music that was very popular at the time of each of the murders. So Emmett Till is the rock and roll of the
50s doo-wop,
doo-wop, and the 60s, of course, is Motown. Yusuf Hawkins, hip hop.
Yeah, it was 80s hip hop, and then James Byrd Jr. was 90s. We did a little bit of neo soul, so it was kind of like that music period.
You may be aware, the Beck Center last February had the regional premiere of the Scottsboro Boys, Was that musical
Oh.
any inspiration to you?
Well, but let me tell you something. I'm a huge fan of Cantor and Nib. I love their music,
Yes.
and I remember their show. I remember the case. I remember the actual case from the 1930s, because I'm also like a great student of American history, because I love American history. And what I really loved about that show is that because it is so real that it has been, the characters never got resolved. It was almost like it did inspire me a little bit, but there were other things that kind of inspired me as well. I mean, just watching the news on CNN or MSNBC. I mean, you just every day you just think, oh my God, just like what's going on here?
Yeah.
Joshua, what are the challenges as we wrap this up? What are the challenges of trying to write an entire musical that isn't allowed to be any longer than 15 minutes?
Well, it's simple. That challenge is you have to simply like not be, just like too long-winded, with the melodies and the lyrics. Basically, you have to get straight to the point. And so that's what was really a hard thing for me, because I had to kind of take my time with this piece and I couldn't rush it because it was only 15 minutes. And so I had to really do my research, and I had to really try and find a way to make sure that everything was done within a time frame. And also I really wanted to create a soundtrack that matched the vision, of just of the piece, and also of the things that Eric Jones wanted to say. I really wanted my music to have that influence in there.
Great.
So it was hard, but I did it because I believe it took me about a month and a half, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It took me a month and a half to get everything done, but after it was over, we were just so happy and relieved. So
speaking of time limits, we've run up against ours. I promised you this would go quickly. I would love to talk about this all day, but your work will speak for itself here in a couple of weeks when we debut this as one of 5 new 15-minute musicals as a collaboration between Beck Center and Baldwin Wallace University. We're really excited. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being part of this today. And we look forward to seeing the final project very soon.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks so much, Scott. We appreciate you. And guys, go out there and enjoy. And please support local theater.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. Be safe and
Yes.
healthy.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much for the opportunity.